Hello everybody and welcome back to the FM Scout YouTube channel. So in this series we will be discovering which teams to manage in each league, and we'll be looking at 2 easy teams, 2 intermediate teams and 2 hard teams. And how we are going to judge who will be easy, medium or hard, it will be based on the minimum board expectations in the first season. It'll be based on the current ability of your squad relative to the rest of the league, and it'll be also based on finances relative to the rest of the league. So for today's video we are going to start with the Premier League, and as you can see I've took over every team. I've had a look through the squad, their finances and their board expectations, and we're going to start with the 2 easy teams. First up we have Arsenal. I believe they are one of the easiest teams to manage in the Premier League. In terms of board expectations for the league, you are only expected to qualify for the Europa League, which I think is anybody should be able to do that with Arsenal. They've got an excellent squad, particularly with the likes of Aubameyang. Playing up front. If you can't get him scoring, there's something seriously wrong with your tactic. You need to make him your focal point and he will bag you the goals. They also have £68 million transfer budget at the beginning of the game, with plenty of players in the squad that you could sell to create extra funds. And you've also got £500,000 in terms of extra wage budget you could spend. And the second easiest team I believe in the Premier League is Manchester United. You are expected to qualify for the Champions League in this season, which I think should be absolutely more than doable. In terms of your finances and your transfers, you have £80 million to spend and £500,000 spare in your wage budget. So should you need to make any improvements to your squad, you've more than got the finances for it. And in terms of current ability, you've got one of the best players in the game, I believe, in Paul Pogba. He should be your focal point in your side, and he will definitely prove to be fantastic. And you've got the likes of Anthony Martial and Lukaku, who Lukaku always destroys me in game. So I think with Manchester United finishing top 4 in the league should be more than comfortable. We'll now move on to the more intermediate teams, and I believe Wolves are a more difficult challenger than some of the teams in the Premier League. In terms of the board expectations, they expect you to finish in the top half, which might be reasonable. They've signed a lot of really good players on FM. You know, you've got the likes of Diogo Jota, Ruben Neves, Rui Patricio, João Moutinho. They're all fantastic players. But for a newly promoted side and for the board to be expecting them to finish in the top half, it might be a bit too much. But, you know, I think with good man management and good tactics, you should be fine. And in terms of the finances, they've only got £20 million to spend before the beginning of the season. And not a lot of sellable assets that you would want to sell anywhere in terms of your squad. It's not that big. So your improvements that you could make would be limited in terms of signings. You haven't got a lot of wage budget, but you do have a decent squad to finish in the top half. Next up for the intermediate challenge, we have Huddersfield Town. Now, they are only expected to avoid relegation, which I guess is fair enough based on the squad they've got. But in terms of their key players, you've got Schindler here, who's a decent centre-half, but he's not absolutely fantastic. Aaron Moy is not a very physical player, which I think will not work well in the Premier League. But he is a good player all the same. But in terms of the squad, they obviously stayed in the Premier League last season. So to me, they still feel like a newly promoted team. I don't think they've completely transformed their squad over the summer. And in terms of transfers, you've only got £7 million and £36,000 in the wage budget. So I think in terms of Huddersfield, you would do well to stay in the league. They are definitely, for me, one of the relegation favourites. If I was just to sim this season over and over, I bet Huddersfield will get relegated more times than they don't. And now we move on to the more difficult challenges, I believe, in the Premier League, and Newcastle came to mind straight away. They have got a mid-table board expectation. Now, their squad, particularly on Football Manager, I don't think it's that impressive. The best player by report is John Joe Shelby, who is a decent player, don't get us wrong. Fabian Schär's there. He's not particularly fast for a centre-half. Ki Sung Young is one of the better reported players. Now I would place this squad somewhere maybe 15th of the Premier League. I'm not sure where the media actually predicts them. The media actually predicts them to finish 11th position. And they've got some decent money. They've got £23 million and £150,000 in the wage budget. But particularly with Premier League quality players, you're going to have to spend big. They haven't got that many sellable assets in the first team to be able to raise funds. And to finish mid-table, I think, is a difficult challenge for the Premier League teams. And finally, for the last team in this list, the most difficult team, I think, to manage will be Cardiff City. Now, the board expectation is only to fight bravely against relegation, so that left us and on whether I should even include them on this list or not. because I don't think you'd be sacked as long as you put up a fight in the league. But based on the quality of their players and the limited transfer funds available, they made it to the bottom of this list. Their best player is Harry Arter, who is okay. He's got room to improve. Well, he's 28 now. He hasn't got room to improve. This is as good as it's going to get for Harry Arter. And he's a decent player, but to be the best player in your team, I think, is a struggle. And of course, the two best highest rated players are both on loan. In terms of sellable assets, there's not that many people with high valuations. Kenneth Zaha, Josh Murphy, players who you probably don't want to be selling because they're one of the better players in the squad. And even they max out at 12.5 million, which is incredibly low for a Premier League side. And in terms of the transfer budget, you've got £9 million and £46,000 in the wage budget. That, to me, does not get you anything in the Premier League. Who would you include out of the list? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you are interested in more content from myself, the channel link will be in the description. Please like the video, get yourself subscribed to the FM Scout YouTube channel. But until next time, take it easy.